So Putin's dead, regardless of the outcome of the war. Why? Number one, if Russia loses this war, which means Russia failed the objective of, like Putin demanded, neutralizing Ukraine, demilitarize it, denazification, which is likely to not happen, then Putin would be overthrown. Because over the 2 decades of Putin's iron fist, the oligarchs, the generals even, and the populace for sure, have been accumulating rage. Previously, their rage were, targeting each other. But as soon as Putin failed to return a profitable outcome in terms of territory for Russia in this war, the sufferings of Russian elites and masses would turn against Putin. The oligarchs especially are being hit very heavily by Western sanctions, so they would find the first opportunity to turn against Putin. Russia has been an empire pretending to be a nation state. Democracy or freedom can only exist within nation state, because people within the nation state have this common culture, common custom. They trust each other, they love each other, they take care of each other. So we used to typically see democracy or republic existing in small city-states, such as the Greek city-states, and later Venetian Merchant Republic, the Novgorod Merchant Republic in the 16th century. With empires such as Tsarist Russia, the Chinese Empire since Qin Dynasty, Byzantine Empire, the only way to hold these artificial existence together is with an iron fist. And that's how they came to be in the first place. So with Russia, Putin became Russia. Putin is Russia, and Russia is Putin. The idea that Russia can be democratized or liberalized into a democracy is a myth. Democracy can only exist, like I said, within the nation state. That's why after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the Baltic states, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, became democratized very naturally, and very easily. Poland as well, because they are real nation states. They are a state with a common custom, a common faith, not necessarily religiously, because the American has a common faith, not in the sense that, oh, they're all Protestant. Well, American used to be English Protestant totally, but the common faith refer to a value system, refer to a common belief in the history, destiny, and values of a country. So, common faith. All this real nation states, like, let me adjust the mic volume, like Estonia, like Lithuania, Poland, blah, 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 they democratized, liberalized very smoothly. In the case of Ukraine, it's different. Ukraine has been a nation in the process of construction. Ukraine is still a nation to be born. Just like the 13th colony back in the 1770s when they fought the British. They were a nation to be born. And President Zelensky of Ukraine is the George Washington of the East right now as we speak. So back to Russia. As an empire, Russia was only able to help by strong men, namely Putin. And as empire goes, there is no real constitution tradition of constitution, or the spirit of constitution. Constitution existed in the Novgorod Merchant Republic, in the aristocracy of the Grand Duchy of Muscovy before 15th century, in Kiev Rus, the multiple principality, all those states in Kiev Rus. Because a constitution is essentially a set of rules that either agreed in tacit or agreed and codified openly, like the U.S. Constitution, by the people of a country. Can be between the ruling elites, the aristocrats, and the free cities and the commoners, or can be between the monarch, the aristocrats, and the commoners. Namely, for example, medieval European states, the British model, especially. Actually, this kind of setting is not uniquely European. It's not uniquely Anglo-Saxon. We see this constitutional rule within city-states, within tribal states, in all human civilizations, such as the pre-Qin China, Zhu Xia, or in Zhou Dynasty, for example. Within these different states, you have agreed upon rules between the monarch, the aristocrats, the commoners, and the businessmen have rights, the peasants, the farmers had rights, blah, blah, blah. So, but after the very emergence of Russia is illegitimate from a constitutional perspective. The emergence of Russia, namely the Tsarist Russia, was built on the destruction on the various liberties of those Kiev Rus states, right? Alexander Nevsky became the supreme ruler by mercilessly crushing Novgorod Merchant Republic, by massacring and persecuting the aristocrats of Muscovy. And then later we see Ivan the Terrible, right, crushing the Kashan Khanate and other free tribes in Siberia. And also we see, all the following rulers of Russia, right? Nicholas II and Nicholas I propagating so-called pan-Slavic idea, the idea that all Slavic people should be governed by one despot, essentially, which is as ridiculous as the idea of all German should be governed under one regime, that's Nazi Germany, or all Anglo-Saxon should be governed under one monarch. It's more or less like the Charles I, like the guy, the English king who was beheaded by his own parliament later. The difference is, with that kind of geography, Russian Tsar were able to achieve. And the Chinese emperor, the Yingzheng, the first totalitarian emperor of China, or they were all totalitarian, but first totalitarian emperor of China, Yingzheng, was able to basically genocided all those independent states in Zhou dynasties and unify, which is conquered China. The word China comes from Qin, come from the first centralized totalitarian empire. So Russia is an empire, and Putin is its emperor. If the Russian people, so here's the thing: Russia is a fake identity. It was an identity solely based on violence, based on military conquest and cultural genocide. It's not a organic, voluntary union. It's not like the 13th colony voluntarily transformed to the United States. Although that's a little bit debatable, because later, as the South tried to succeed, the North crushed it, right? Slavery is another moral debate, but from a constitutional point of view, the South secession had more basis. Okay, but that's another debate. So Putin, so with an imperial, centralized imperial structure, you don't have the natural process of peaceful transfer of power. If Putin loses this war, or if he failed to secure a profitable peace territorially, then he would have to be killed. The oligarchs, the generals, they're taking a lot of crap from the sanction. They will kill their emperor. Same way in Byzantine politics. The Praetorian Guard killed the emperor, like countless. So Putin's dead if he failed to secure a profitable peace. And Putin is not able to secure a profitable peace. He's unable to defeat the superior Western technologies plus the will of the Ukrainian resistance. So he's dead. What he can do is to delay his death. How? At this point, Kiev and President Zelensky has become a symbol of rally of Ukrainian morale. He rightly chose to stay in Kiev. If he flee, it means Ukraine is not determined enough to defend itself. So he chose to stay in Kiev, and I believe that's right. And he would insist on doing that. So now it becomes Russia has to take Kiev. Russia have two ways to either take Kiev or take everywhere else of Ukraine to make Kiev an island, to starve it out. Well, the second way is not easy. It's too difficult. The first way, and by the way, by the end of this month, by the end of March, Russia would not even have a modern civilization, because Russia is running out of chips, microchips. It's running out of everything. As we speak, I believe Russia is already trying to cannibalize their smartphones, their computers, whose components were imported before the war. So Putin has to take Kiev, and he has two ways. Number one, weapon of mass destruction. We're talking about we're talking about poison gas and nukes. With poison gas, it's very fast. Just launch some poison gas and kill Ukrainian civilians en masse, and take it. Because for Ukraine, it's a total war. Every Ukrainian civilian is a soldier. So Putin is not fighting Ukrainian formal military anymore. He's fighting the entire Ukrainian population. It's really the situation of Operation Barbarossa in reverse. So he eventually, well, he's already targeting Ukrainian civilians, but he has to kill Ukrainian en masse in order to delay his death, to have a temporary military advantage. But that route, in terms of weapons of mass destruction, it requires a lot of determination. The conventional way, the more politically easy way to do, is to just use conventional means to encircle Kiev, to starve it out. That is what Russia has been doing. But in either case, eventually Putin will lose. With the current economy, demography, and we're talking about the contemporary way of life, the technologies, Russia is not able to hold for long. By the end of this month, Russia will not have a modern civilization. And Russia already financially is becoming a protectorate of China. And to be honest, that saddens me because the post-communist Russian is still morally better than communist Chinese, I have to say. So, but financially, Russia is increasingly rely on international transactions based on RMB because the US dollar has just kicked Russia out. So Putin's dead. He's delaying his death. And to do that, he would resort in increasingly extreme measures. For him, it makes no difference between being dragged out and killed like Gaddafi's or suffer total military defeat resulting in the decimation of Russian population and then be killed or delay that death indefinitely. For him, 1 more minute to live is 1 more minute to live. So he would do that. And I think he will find himself using poison gas, if not nuclear weapons. He's dead.